I used to keep a garden out back, years ago, before my knees decided gardening wasn't for me no more. And I learned something out there in that dirt that I ain't never forgot. And it's took me this long to realize it applied to people just as much as it applied to tomato plants. See, I used to give everything in that garden all the water it asked for. Every last plant. Didn't matter if it needed it or not. Didn't matter if it was already drowning in it. If a plant looked thirsty, I watered it. And you know what happened? Some of them plants got so much water, so much constant giving, the roots never had to work. Never had to reach down deep looking for what they needed. They just sat there, shallow-rooted, taking whatever I poured on them, getting weaker underneath even while they looked green and pretty up top. That's kind people, baby. That's exactly what happened to kind people, more times than I can count. See, a kind person is a garden that never learned how to say, "That's enough water for today." They just keep pouring theyself out onto everybody standing nearby, whether that person's roots need it, or whether that person just learned they could stand there and soak up whatever a kind soul gonna offer, free of charge, forever, no questions asked. Now here's the first thing that happened in a garden like that, and it happened slow, so slow don't nobody notice for years. The soil around a kind person get depleted, same as dirt get worn out, giving up all its nutrients, season after season, without nobody ever putting nothing back in it. A kind person keep giving attention, giving time, giving comfort, giving money sometime, giving they whole self, over and over, and don't nobody think to ask, well, who's watering her? 'Cause everybody just assume a person that generous must have a well that never run dry. But every well got a bottom, every single one. Second thing happened in a garden like this, and this the part that really get me, is the wrong things start to grow because the soil's so rich and welcoming. Weeds don't need much invitation. They just need soft, giving ground, and they'll take root right alongside everything else you actually planted on purpose. Same with people. A kind person's life fill up, not just with good folks who deserve that kindness, but with takers too. People who ain't even bad necessarily, just people who learned real quick that this particular soil don't never push back, don't never say no, don't never ask nothing of 'em in return. And them takers grow real comfortable, real established, right alongside the good folks, and after a while a kind person's whole garden is half worth tending and half just weeds that moved in 'cause the ground was too soft to keep 'em out. Third thing, and this is the one nobody warns kind people about, ever. A garden that give without no boundary start to lose its shape. Ain't no fence, ain't no border telling nothin' where the garden end and the wild start. And a kind person without no boundaries, same thing happened to they life. They stop knowing where they end and everybody else's needs begin. Somebody else's emergency become they emergency automatic. Somebody else's bad mood become they responsibility to fix. The garden just keeps spreading, thinner and thinner, trying to cover more and more ground until can't nothin' in it grow strong no more, 'cause it's all spread so wide and so thin, trying to reach everybody at once. Now here go what I learned. Them last few years I kept that garden before my knees give out on me. The healthiest plants in that whole yard wasn't the ones I babied the most, wasn't the ones I ran out to water every single time they drooped a little in the afternoon heat. The healthiest plants was the ones I let struggle a little on purpose. Let the roots go looking. Let 'em learn to survive a dry spell without me rescuing 'em every single time. Them plants ended up stronger, deeper rooted, tougher through the winter than any plant I spoiled with constant, unlimited water. And that's the hidden truth under this whole topic, if I'm honest with you today. Kind people end up miserable more times than not. Not 'cause kindness itself is a flaw. Kindness ain't the problem. The problem is kindness without no boundary. Kindness that never learned to say, I gave what I had today, and that's enough. And you gonna have to find some water somewhere else now. Or better yet, find your own well. A kind person who never learned that lesson gonna end up worn down to nothing, surrounded by a yard full of things that took root off her generosity, standing there wondering why, after giving so much love her whole life, she feels so empty and so alone in the middle of it. Kindness need a fence around it. That's the whole lesson, boiled down plain. Not a wall. I ain't talking about closing yourself off from everybody, becoming cold, stop caring. I'm talking about a fence, something that let the good stuff in, keep the wrong stuff from taking over completely, and remind the whole garden, kind soul included, where the giving's supposed to end, so something can grow back before the next season come round asking for more. If you a kind person and you tired, bone tired, in a way don't nobody around you seem to notice, I hope this helped you understand why. Ain't 'cause you gave too much love. It's 'cause don't nobody ever taught you it was allowed to build a fence around a heart that generous. Tell me down below if you recognized your own garden in this one today. I read every one. I'll see you next time.